Wayne, that sure is a snazzy picture of you. You running for something?
Oh, hold on, let me get, hold on, I need to take, that's, yeah. That was taken a couple of years ago. I don't know if you could tell.
I would have never known that.
Why me, Lord?
I don't know, but if I had heard that noise and I was flying an airplane, I would not be happy.
I agree. Hey, Don.
Sure.
Yeah, so while we're waiting, my employees, not Breckerite, but my employees went out on their own and bought a whole bunch of snacks for the city of Palatka Police Department. We're going to deliver this afternoon, up to and including stuff for the canine dogs. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah, they kind of did that on their own. So I called Jason, and we're going to go by there this afternoon and drop them off. So that's pretty cool. Very nice though.
Very much appreciate it too.
Yeah.
So I have always hooked to the city's internet, and now I've lost my picture again.
Don't hear you, Fred.
You're welcome.
Anybody hear me?
No, you're muted.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
So I think we still have one more minute. Should we wait another minute, I guess, right?
Do you show who all is logged in yet?
Right now, I only have Wayne McLean and me as board members. Well, yeah, and you and Don, but yes, but we only have two board members, I think.
And
So what do we do if we don't have more?
Andrew should be coming up any time now.
Do we have a meeting anyhow, can we?
I'll have one.
So we can't even have a meeting if we don't have more members?
Well, we can, but we can't take any action. And this is important.
No, you can't even impanel a meeting if you don't have a quorum. I mean, you can't have an official meeting without a quorum.
Don, can we talk about items that don't require official action, like a vote?
You're muted.
Ask him if he can talk about that.
Don, can we talk about items that don't require official action and don't require a vote?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to understand what you're going to accomplish by talking about something that doesn't involve a vote, but
Update on.
the point is simply that you can't have a meeting without a quorum. So we can have I guess we could have a discussion among friends, but it's not going to be an official meeting of the Airport Advisory Board without a quorum.
Talk about construction jobs out there, status.
Can we talk about the status of construction jobs?
Yeah, I don't know why not, as long as you're not going to be looking for any input from anybody.
Okay. Well, I sure hope, I know that Ken Johnson, brother-in-law's, his brother-in-law. Oh, here, well, we got Melissa. Hey, Melissa,
Hey, John.
we need you.
What-
Well, mine's not working, so this is my phone.
Well,
What's the quorum requirement, Judge? 3 or 4?
John, is four or three? 4.
So right
Melissa,
there,
you still look beautiful on your phone, Melissa.
You're very kind, and that's not true, but I'll take it.
It is very true.
and
So we need one.
and you all are being recorded, so please remember that, please.
Yes, sir.
Melissa might hold that against you. The next thing you know, I'll have a sexual harassment suit being filed that I'll have to worry about defending.
Hey, listen
John Brown.
about it.
Oh,
Okay, so we're hoping for Hugh Rawls
John.
and John Browning and maybe Dana. John Yule is calling right now.
You got 10 people on the Zoom right now. See Melissa, Wayne,
Okay, thanks, John.
Hugh's on.
Okay.
So we
And
got it.
John's trying.
And John Browning's trying. So we can go ahead and get started. All right, well, I will begin by saying welcome to everybody. I'm sorry if I don't acknowledge everybody, but I will try to do it. And when we talk about a topic, I will try to go around the room like we normally sit and give everybody a chance to answer so we can maybe make sense of everybody's conversation. We've already done a roll call. And I think the next thing we need to do is that we need a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting on May 6, 2020.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Can I second that?
No, Judd?
No.
Melissa.
Yes.
Did you get a second?
I think
Okay,
Melissa seconded it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Can you maybe just do a thumbs up and say aye? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carried. All right, I wanted to start out with just a few quick thoughts since this no other day on the calendar is more potentially symbolizes what our nation stands for than the 4th of July. And we always make mention of that on our meeting that happens near the 4th. I wanted to remind us the importance of freedom and maybe just read this real fast. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think it's very important that we remember what Peter Marshall said, and I quote him, "May we all think of freedom not as a right to do what we please, but the opportunity to do what is right." And I want to thank each one of you on our board and our city and at this meeting for doing what's right and for participating and giving to our city and our community like we do. It's very much a pleasure to serve with each of you. We have quite a few things on the agenda. That'll close my comments, and I don't think we have any public comments that I'm aware of at this time. So we'll turn the meeting over to John for an airport update and a business report.
Yeah, thank you, John. And Courtney, can you?
Judd, can you do me a favor? And I didn't hear the roll call, so can we just note now
If anybody calls in with a
who
question.
you've got here that's
Is your volume up, John?
Can you hear me? Test, test. Test, test.
Don, I don't think he caught your question.
Hey, Judd, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you just note for the record who you have in attendance that is a member of the board?
Yes, I will. You mean verbally?
Yeah, you just announce it out loud. That way it's in the record.
Yeah, so we have attending with us today, we have Melissa Miller, we have John Browning, we have Wayne McLean, and we have Hugh Rawls and Judd Neufeld.
Thanks.
I'm also here, Judd, Dana Jones.
Oh, Dana, welcome. That's
Sorry, I
wonderful.
was late.
Well, we're happy to have you, Dana. Thank you. All right, John Yule, you're up, sir.
Okay. I'll run through these because, like Jed said, we got a lot to cover. And I know everybody's interested in knowing what,
Hey, John, can you get a little closer to the mic?
how's that, Wayne? Test, test. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Let me move over here beside John and let him use this laptop. You can look at yours and
Okay.
talk into that.
All right. Courtney, can you throw the next slide up, please?
Can you all hear John now?
Test. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hey, our operation down by about 2,000. Next slide. Our 100 low leads is about 10,000 gallons off, and believe it or not, that is not related to COVID. We had a terrible October. We got rained out, I think, 2, maybe even 3 weekends. And we also installed the brand new credit card machine, which took us offline for about 3 days or so to make that happen. So October was just a tough month, but we're in the process of making it up, and we're actually ahead of last year's sales, if you can believe that. I'll show you in a little bit. Next slide. There's Jet A sales. And naturally, we have not had as many jets out since March. I'll show you in just a little bit, but it's not as dire as I think as I was thinking it could possibly be. Next slide. And you know, for being in a pandemic, only a couple 3,000 down on profit for fuel sales. I'm gonna be honest, I'm pleased given what's been going on since March. And I'll show you what's been going on since March here in a minute. Next slide. And our rent revenue is up a little bit. We've now got the flight school out there paying $500 plus per month for the office on the East End. And hopefully some more good news here in a minute. Next slide, please. And here's our total revenue situation. When you combine fuel sales with rent, oil, pilot stores, we're looking a little better than last year. Next slide, please. And at the end of the year, you'll see we're going to owe $157,000 this fiscal year, and then I put the balance, the payments for the remainder until this loan is paid off in 2023. And actually, that debt balance is lower than that. Logan just updated me with a lower figure, but those are the 3 projected payments until the loan is paid off. And next slide, please. And the grant funding for this year changed a little bit. And I don't know if Andrew Halesko is with us yet. He was going to get some updated numbers because, as you know, the FAA changed something to help us and everybody when they offered to pay 100% of funded projects for this year.
Hey, John, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
And actually, the FA share in 1920 will change by about $5,000 positive. The FA number will increase by about 5,000, and the city share will decrease by 5,000 because the current design project in the current fiscal year, instead of being 95% FA or 90% FA, it's 100% FAA. So saves the city about $5,000
this year. And
yes.
And have you heard anything about the FAA extending that into next year, Andrew, where we have a big
have only seen the first listing of the draft of the AIP for 2021, and it doesn't say whether it'll be 90% or 100% funded yet. That is not listed.
All right, we'll keep those happy thoughts coming on that. Next slide, please. And it's just an update on what's going on at the airport. You know, the 1735 project is done. We've got a punch list we're working out there. Some lights to fix and a electrical, what do you call it? Transformer problem we're working. And the rotating beacon has been replaced. The electrical vault is being painted as we speak and then rehabilitated. The taxiway rehabilitation project, phase 2 design is underway, and the T-hangers are underway. And Andrew, anything to add here? Just a quick update.
Just simply, if you've been out to the airport, you've seen the new beacon tower is up. So we talked about that for months and months.
Mm-hmm.
So the old tower is down, the new tower is up. And the T-hangers, we'll have that design and bid ready for the next final round of DOT money in July of 2021. When that money is ready, we'll have a bid and a new T-hanger ready to go to construction. So 12 months from today, that's when the final piece of FDOT funding is put in place to build the next hangar.
Thank you. Next slide, please. And we got everything rented that we have with the exception of one facility, and that's the old terminal building. However, I've been contacted by somebody who's interested in renting that thing beginning now. They said they need it for at least, they said they need it for about a year. And let's hope that rents. If that rents, every single piece of real estate out of the airport will be rented, every facility. Next slide, please. This is the last one, I believe. If you're wondering what the pandemic has done to our fuel cells, there it is right there. So you can see we're ahead by about 2,000 gallons on 100 low lead sales. And then, of course, Jet A is down significantly. I understand the Bass Pro Shop is supposed to fly in this afternoon and hopefully put a dent in that. Our M4000 credit card machine had a worldwide problem. The master server went down for about 6 days from May 29th to April 3rd. You may have heard about it. Every terminal that they manage worldwide, airports and marinas, I don't know if it was hacked or something happened to the master server, but we had to pump gas using our manual test card during business hours, but after hours we were unable to sell fuel, so we lost a little bit of sales on that, I'm sure. We have a new airport vehicle. Thank you very much, City of Palatka. A nice shiny F-150 truck. And when the new fiscal year hits, we're going to put some nice looking decals on it. You'll hopefully see that driving around town. Last thing to report, you can see we've hired a gentleman by the name of Rowan Bush. Well, people may recognize that name, Dana. I think that's Rick Bush's younger brother. He grew up here. He went to Embry-Riddle and got a degree in airport management, and then went and had a career with air traffic control. He's recently come back to the area, so we're pleased we found somebody with the aviation experience that he has. It should be a nice addition out there.
Thank you, John, very, very much. We'll go around the room and give everybody a chance to reply. Melissa, did you want to make any comments on any of those topics?
No, I just want to say great job to John and Andrew and everyone for keeping things going and a lot of good things happening. So I appreciate your during this difficult time.
So true. How about John Browning? Would you have any comments, sir?
No comments. Looked great.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McLean, do you have any comments, sir?
Yes, a comment, and I think I brought this up last time, and maybe this isn't the right place. If not, Mr. Chairman, you can stop me. But is there, maybe this goes to John and Andrew. So with the, what we got budgeted for the airport, and is there any money budgeted for hangar maintenance, painting, just general maintenance? Because it looks like some of our hangars are getting kind of tired and rusty.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that in item D.
I don't think they can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can hear him.
Oh, you can? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you'll see item D on the agenda is discussion, airport hangar improvement. And I probably need Andrew's help here on trying to find some funding, because it's going to be major funding to paint those 3 large commercial hangars, and then the 3 T hangars and the hangars on the west end. I doubt we're going to be able to find money to do all of them at the same time. I can imagine what that costs, but we're gonna need to start putting a dent in that, this year. And I don't know how much I can funnel over from my annual maintenance, hangar maintenance budget. It's pretty slim. It's been cut back over the years. Pretty good. But,
Let me add a little bit to that, John. So
thank you.
Wayne, maintenance of airport facilities are not eligible for grant funding. Both the FAA and DOT give you money to build the facility, but when it comes to regular maintenance and painting and things like that, that's the airport's responsibility, not typically grant funded. However, there's always a question between what is maintenance of a facility and what is rehabilitation, because we are allowed to do rehabilitation of a facility, which means if you had a hangar supported by the FDOT and 15 years later, the roof system needed replacement and rehabilitation, you could replace the entire roof, but not typically paint the hangar or, fix a door or things like that. The issue of painting, John and I have been discussing that quite a bit in the past few months. The issue of painting, we may be able to fit that into the current T hangar project to do a painting of the hangars, perhaps in the west area because they're adjacent to where the new T hangar will be built. But every time we spend those dollars for something else, we're not building new hangars. So if we add to our bid to construct the new T hangar in the west area to paint 20 hangars, it's going to be a significant cost, and it could mean that we don't build a hangar unit. And that's just something that the airport and the board and the city have to decide. Do you want to paint hangars instead of building a new one? Because there is no additional money for painting hangars, but we could possibly use the existing grant funds we have. So all that's a part of the mix, and all that will come about in the next year. If the airport doesn't have any other source of funding to paint hangars and you want us to put that in the bid docs next year, we can. But there's only a limited amount of money, and we're already dipping into those funds, and John will be talking with you about another proposed change order in a few minutes where we're dipping into the hangar funds for next year.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Yeah, I was just thinking about something. Instead of painting, Andrew, could we, how about we replace every aluminum panel and call it a rehabilitation?
Well, and John, you can do whatever you want with that money as long as it's new, but there is no more money. You
I understand.
spend 50
Right,
for
right.
you don't get another 50
It's
from
good,
you.
it's good.
Got it.
We know that.
Thank you, Andrew.
Consideration, and we'll keep that on the front burner here, Wayne.
Wayne, did you have anything else, sir?
No, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dana. Do you have any comments or questions?
Just congrats on the new hire.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And Ken's not with us. And for those of you that didn't hear, our condolences to him and his family for the loss of, I think it was his brother-in-law. Hugh, do you have any additional comments or questions? Hugh, are you with us?
You can hear you can unmute *6.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much for all that. And I had a few comments too, John. Where did we get the money for the truck, and how did we get a truck?
That's a question for Logan. Hopefully she's gonna patch in here. I haven't seen it on my budget.
Wow.
I think it was a gift from Young Law or something.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Oh, yeah. I thought it might have been a gift from Wayne, but, all right. Thank you all very much. So we'll go on to 4B. And I think that's up for Andrew. Is that correct?
I recommend change order number 2. Yes, so this kind of plays in with what Andrew suggested earlier. We build one less hangar. We can install, $90,000 worth of lighting to our east hangars. Bring that airport up to
Andrew should do that.
It should be. Yeah.
So Andrew, do you have a minute to talk about 4B, please?
Yeah, sure, Judd. So looking back about 6 months ago, we were having discussions on the board about several small pieces of remaining funds in FDOT grants. And we didn't want to give that money back to the FDOT. So we looked at specific places to use some of those funds. There were security funds, there were some electrical funds. And we did some things on the airport to do additional security, and we did some exterior hangar lighting and things like that. And when we started looking at some of the older hangars, we started off with the exterior and found out that there were some areas of the airport that were very dark at night because there hadn't been a new hangar project in the area in a long time. That was all done with previous funds. The lights are installed. Then we started looking at interior hangar lights in both the bulk hangars and the T hangars. There was no money at that time to do any of those improvements then. But now you have a situation with your T hangars where you have a new T hangar with a hydraulic door and LED lights. And you have some areas of the airport where you have a rolling door and incandescent lights, much darker, perhaps one outlet. And there's quite a disparity between a new hangar and an old hangar, yet you're still trying to charge a similar monthly rate when the hangars are very different to have a rolling door versus hydraulic and the lights on the inside. So while we had the electrical contractor on site doing the vault and the beacon, we asked him to give us a price to upgrade exterior security lighting for the T hangars and put new LED lights inside the hangars for all of the hangars, so that all T hangars would have new LED lights on the inside and security lighting on the outside, similar to what we would design in a new project now. And that's the change order that you have in front of you. It's 96,000, John, 93,000.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's a big number, but it's improvements to all of the remaining hangars, and the money is there because this is a new improvement to the hangar. It's just like building a new T hangar. It's a new T hangar lighting system. So you can access your existing funds with Florida DOT and draw that money down and do the improvements to all of the hangars. But because of that, we will not be able to build one T hangar unit for sure. We know that. That $95,000 equates to the new T hangar having one less unit. And just talking with John about it, John believes, and I concur with him, that the improvement in the other hangars to everyone is probably greater than building one more T hangar unit. You wish you could do it, but a lot of people are going to see a lot of improvement from that $90,000 investment. It's 100% FDOT funded, and we're bringing that to you today just to talk about whether or not you think the airport should take the city commission that change order to do the lighting improvements for all the T hangars. So hope that wasn't too many words.
No, perfect, Andrew. Thank you. And before we go around the room, and we'll start out with Melissa again, there number C on number E on our agenda, 4E, is going to talk about the rate increase for the hangars, and this would help bring a little more value for a rate increase, plus provide funds to make up the difference of not having that other hangar built. So the city would maintain the same amount of income and profit margin. So Melissa, we'll open it up to you for questions and comments. So what's on the table is, do we agree to go ahead and delete one hangar off of the next project and spend that same $96,000 or $93,000 for these upgrades that are needed to improve our appearance as well as our safety?
Yeah, so I apologize. I don't have all the documents in front of me. What was the total amount for the project, the project price, Andrew?
John, I don't have the change order in front of me, but I think it's approximately 93,000. It's in the vicinity of 93 or 95,000.
Okay. So but for the grand total of the estimated total of the project, I'm just trying to think what the percentage this change order
Of the T hangar project, Melissa?
Correct.
The T hangar project is a 1.1 million.
Okay. It sounds like it's something that has to be done, so I would be in favor of it. I guess my question would be, you know, the timing of it, you know, why it wasn't sort of identified going in the beginning. But I would be in favor of it.
It's actually happening in advance of the project instead of behind.
So, but by the same token, being described as a change order, that in my world, that means it wasn't anticipated at the.
So Melissa, it's a
I
change.
probably gotta take some credit for that, Andrew, here. I brought it up after, after the project was scoped out and drove around the airport at night. And so let me take credit for that one. For not
Right, so
bringing
you're not really
project with the end.
experiencing change order prices that will be bid with the project in the project as we design it. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this was not a component of the original project. It's we call it a change order, Melissa, but it's actually a new project.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, John Browning, do you have any comments or questions, sir?
Yes, I would be more in favor of painting. We have some really rusty looking hangars. You're talking about raising money. Most people aren't working on their planes in those hangars. They're not supposed to be anyway. So the only hangars that it might affect would be the big ones, and they have the large doors. And as you know, most of the time the doors are open. I think that we should look at improving the exterior. They are in bad shape. Some of the hangar doors and the tops are very rusty. I think we should take care of what we've got. And so that should be included if we're going to include something. Now, the lights, I'm not opposed to them. I just don't see, we're full. So the people that are there are happy. We don't have anybody unhappy with the lights. So I think adding another hangar increases the income also. That's just my thoughts, but I'll go with whatever.
Thank you, John, very much. Wayne, do you have some input or questions, sir?
No, it goes along kind of, John's comments are mine are about the same in terms of painting. Lighting, I guess, would add to the appearance, but again, just not letting the painting drop off the radar screen.
Beautiful. Dana, do you have some comments or questions?
No, I agree. I think the lighting might even save money down the road since the LEDs are a lot less expensive. Don't want to lose sight of the painting as well, but I think as Andrew said, we couldn't do that in this change order anyway, because it's not rehabilitation, it's maintenance.
All right, thank you very much. Hugh, are you with us, sir?
Yes, I am. Do you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. What are your comments or questions, sir?
I have nothing to add. I agree with Wayne.
All right, beautiful. And my feeling is that it's a very good move for us for safety. And I would like to entertain a motion to recommend to the city commission that we're in favor of change order number 2 to the T-hanger project to add the additional interior and exterior lighting to the project, if anybody's willing to make that motion.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Wayne here.
All right, thank you, Wayne.
And you here, I'll second.
All right, very good. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye, and maybe raise your thumb if you could, so we know that you're in. Aye.
Aye.
Melissa, we didn't hear you. Are you in favor?
I'm in favor, yes.
Okay, and how about John Browning?
Yes.
Yep, and Hugh, do we have you?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you. Motion made and carried. Thank you very much. We'll turn the meeting back over to Andrew for 4C. If you could take over, Andrew, please.
Could I ask a question?
Oh, yes.
I haven't been obviously attending these meetings until very recently, but my question concerns your airport, I guess, for lack of a better term, master plan. And again, forgive me because I haven't been attending these meetings, but does the board adopt a plan for each fiscal year in advance that might prioritize the things that you'd like to accomplish with regard to both capital improvement as well as maintenance issues?
Comes up.
Go ahead and speak.
Don, I don't know the meetings that we have annually to review the master plan. It's just kind of reviewed on a as need basis more so. And it's not a scheduled time at the beginning or the end of the fiscal year. It's not scheduled.
But we do approve every fiscal year monies from the FDOT. Normally Andrew has a package for us on that, and we go over the list of projects and approve it that way.
Pretty much constantly, every meeting.
Andrew, did you have any comment on that?
Yeah, I just want to, I guess I will on the capital improvements. I mean, it's something that we talk about constantly, and it really isn't it isn't a set time like we're going to do it in January. It's a constant issue, and we talk about what's underway right now, what's being requested in the next year or two. We also have a summary every year. After we have our FA and DOT meeting, we have an annual meeting with them. We bring all the results of that meeting to the board and show them this is what the FDOT and FAA is proposing at the airport for the next 3 to 6 years. So everybody gets a handout on all that, as well as what's happening each year. What we don't necessarily have a discussion on, I don't want to put words in your mouth, John, but on maintenance. Maintenance of the airport, that doesn't really come up as a discussion item that I can recall.
And I think I kind of misspoke and said it's not scheduled per se, but like you said, Andrew, after we meet with the FDOT and the FAA, we can go over the JSIP and the airport improvement program. We do bring that back to the airport board
every year
annually. John, it's just not a scheduled time because it doesn't happen the same time of year.
Okay, one final question, and then I'll leave this alone for now. But I understand that FDOT funding varies, and the I guess the uses to which you can put FDO funding can vary as well. By the way, John Browning, while I'm at it, I'm in my one-on-one meetings right now with the commissioners, and Mary Lawson Brown told me that she knew that you would help get the FDOT to forgive the remaining loan balance that's due this next year.
So on the riverboat.
Wow.
On the riverboat you're talking about.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. Good job. Good job, John Browning. Good job.
Yeah, right.
Disappoint her to accomplish that. So just as an aside. But having said that, I guess I'm wondering whether or not the board might entertain the thought of some sort of conceptual plan about where you see the airport going in terms of capital improvements or and the maintenance. The maintenance plan would seem to me something that's I don't know, from just me on the outside looking in. Even though I understand you might not have the funding to accomplish all the items on your checklist, a maintenance plan on an annual basis would seem to be something that would be very desirable. But on the other end of the spectrum, the capital improvement plan, I mean, I guess my question to the board is, and it is a question, it's not intended to be a statement, but my question to the board is, do we see the airport moving forward in somewhat of a haphazard fashion based upon what DOT will give us funds to do? In other words, if they give you funds for more hangars this year, you build more hangars. They give you funds for taking down a runway, then taking up a runway, then that, as compared to you having a conceptual plan of what you'd like to see the airport be, and then working to fund that. And that's a question. It's not intended to be rhetorical. It's a question to the board.
Yes, and I think, Don, we do have all that, but I think maybe for the next meeting, we can put on the agenda to go over a formal projection platform for maintenance and capital. I think that we probably don't do anything on maintenance much, except when it arises, like the beacon and things that break. But typically on all the projects, we are looking 3 and 4 and 5 years out with FDOT and the FFA. So I think we can maybe have a little outline of that on the next meeting, if that sounds good to you.
Yeah, and one thing to mention here is the fact that the FDOT normally attends our airport advisory board meeting monthly. So we get
Yes.
some good face-to-face time with them monthly when we talk about these projects. They've been a tremendous partner during the years.
Mr. Chairman, Wayne McLean here.
Yes, sir.
I
Go ahead.
think City Manager Holmes is right on target, though. I mean, we have, as you know, we've had some changes in city management, but now that Don's going to be here with us a while, I think it would be good for the board as well as Don if we do have that kind of conceptual master plan discussion that we've had on several times in the past to kind of bring him up to date and refresh our memories. So I would like to follow through with your suggestion, suggest that maybe we dedicate a next advisory board meeting to actually doing that.
Thank you. We will do that. That's a very good point. Thank you, Mr. McLean. All right, any other comments before we turn it over to Andrew for 4C? All right, Andrew, 4C, please.
Judd, tell me what 4C says. I don't have it written in front of me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Presentation by Passero Associates and capital improvement project programs intended to improve revenue at the airport.
Got it.
And I think that's the slides you sent.
Yep. Okay, everybody see that slide, hopefully?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so some of you had a little trouble opening this yesterday because it was a very large file. It was a 21 megabyte file, but each year we take a look at ways to make more money on the airport. I've been doing it now for 2 or 3 years. It's just an additional task in looking at what are the ways and the projects that will generate revenue at the airport. And we took some drawings and things in the past and frankly ideas and consolidated them into a set of drawings. I'm actually hoping that the city will take some action on what's listed on these 16 pages and decide, you know, how and who is best to really try and market the airport and do some of these projects. Some of them are very easy and some are not. So just this is an overall aerial view of the airport where the projects listed, as you can see, they're all shown in red throughout the entire airport area. There is a lot of land and a lot of potential for areas to build new facilities and make money. So there is ample opportunity. Go through them one by one. This is the next T-hanger project. There really doesn't need to be any marketing or anything done on that, but you know, this is up in the northwest quadrant of the bulk hangar area, right adjacent to the north end of 1735. Route 100 would be on the top of the screen. I'm pretty confident that John would tell you that the minute that this hangar is designed and constructed and bid next year, that it'll be full on day one. It'll be a new hangar with LED lights and hydraulic doors and most likely be full on day one. That's what it's going to look like on the outside, very similar to the other hangars that you have. Frankly, as good as a product that exists anywhere in the United States today. That's what your new T-hanger product is now. As good as any T-hanger anywhere in the United States.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
The next project area is the new 5 acres of land, the new east entrance to the airport. This is over between Skydive Palatka and between the Moose Lodge and the storage facility. And we just put a roadway in there that connects into the airport road. We call it a special use, a special event area. Don't know exactly what the use is going to be of that. The only thing that we have really discussed as an airport group so far is that we want that parcel to hopefully be able to support Skydive Palatka and events in the future where they can hopefully bring some people to the airport, whether it's 20, 50, 100 for an event and allow them to be comfortable and have places to operate their events and stay in hotels and things like that and have Skydive Palatka be more successful, but it doesn't have to be exclusively for their use either. So that is still a pretty wide open canvas. That's your land right now, you own it. And we're gonna work to get that roadway connected because there is some DOT funds to get the roadway and utilities put in. But what else happens with that? There is some vision needed to determine what happens next.
Beautiful.
Next parcel, this is actually to the east of the T-hangars inside the fence. We actually just label this site, it's the open field between the terminal and the old blue T hangar that's now outside the fence. It's that open field where there's some millings, there's some stone. And this is a possible future home for an international flight academy or the Palatka High School aviation program. You know, it's a perfect place that you can tie into a taxiway. It's wide open. It's got utilities. It's got stormwater retention nearby. Again, wide open canvas. Can we go out and find an international flight school to come to Palatka? There's also an interest and discussion to do some type of aviation program with the high school in the future, similar to what they have in St. Johns County and other areas. This is a good location for that to happen. Next slide. This is over on K. Larkin, actually on the south side of the airport. What would be the fourth runway, the south part of runway 1735 heading west. Right now it's an open field. We spent some DOT money a few years back to clear it, developable. And frankly, there's room to put, 10, 15 hangars or small businesses in that quadrant of the airport. And when new people contact John Ewell and they say, I want to come here and I want to put a bulk hangar, a private hangar, and I want to lease the land myself, this is where we've encouraged them to go, and we've done some site planning, but it hasn't turned into fruition yet. So nobody has actively agreed to develop this with their own funds, and it could be privately done, or the airport and the city could do it. But it's just another area that you can put some hangars. They're mostly single-sided hangars, but another area you can definitely put a lot of aircraft and put some people to work.
I've had 2 calls this week about something like this, Andrews.
Okay, good, John.
Good.
Is it that same guy from Rhode Island again?
No, that would be 3. But
Yeah.
no, two different ones.
There's a certain tenant at Flagler who's from Rhode Island, and every year he seems to call John and want to have a place to relocate because he's not comfortable in Flagler. And we've already drawn a site plan similar to what you see for him. Every year he complains about Flagler, but he doesn't pull the trigger to come to Palatka, but maybe he will one of these years. Next project is the ability to build another bulk hangar to the east of the fuel farm, west of the old terminal, and south of the existing row of blue bulk hangars. So it's where those pine trees exist. You all know that when you're driving through the circle, there's 4 or 5 pine trees. Well, the truth is, right there is a perfect place to still build a bulk hangar. There's plenty of room to build 2 different 60 by 60s approximately, and it's a prime location. I know that once we'd had a discussion as a group that we hoped that building and that site could be developed and operated by the same person who was leasing the old terminal building. That it just makes sense that you have that little terminal building as an office, and this could be your aircraft storage hangar, and that somebody would need that site. So it's still hope it happens, and it's still a good possibility. And again, that's what it could look like from the outside, just a standard metal building, metal hangar. But you can put 2 different businesses and 2 different buildings in that location. The next site is the Route 100 site plan. This is it's actually hanging out in the lobby. We have it shown right now as commercial. This could be restaurants, this could be retail, it could be anything that makes sense out there. There's a big sign out in the field that says for lease. It's a large parcel of land, and it is very valuable land. But nobody's really bitten on that yet and expressed any interest in leasing it. It actually could be sold if the right user came along. The city could surplus this land and sell it if you wanted to. That's actually still another option. But right now, we just have it shown as a significant commercial development out front. That again, somebody could come today. The utilities are there, access is there, everything is needed to develop that parcel of land. Next is the area to the east of the terminal, between the terminal and the T hangars. Right now we see it as an open field. It's where a lot of the cars, the custom cars park for the fly-in, that big open field. We keep that open and we don't show T hangars proposed inside it because this is the site that many people have looked at in the past, and we call it the Palatka Jet Center. It looks like, it could look like that. You know, literally, it could be a very nice looking building. And it's really the best place on the airport to put a large corporate hangar and put, frankly, a fleet of corporate jets, a maintenance operation, something very significant that absolutely wants to be located in the terminal area. It's kind of the premier parcel that remains in the terminal area to have synergy with the terminal building, the T hangars, and really the centerpiece of the airport. So don't plan on putting T hangars there related to the master plan, but the day may come when the city decides, okay, this isn't coming to fruition. Maybe we do put 2 more T hangars there. But right now it's somewhat reserved for, you know, a significant development like this one. And then the last one is this area. This is an area off of Moody Road. If you go to the new gate over where the Moody Road fire station is, there's a possibility to come off of Moody Road and develop airport land over there that's forested right now. And this is the big development area. This is 20, 30 acres of land. We had shown it in the past with a concept. I'll show it on the next page. This is what it could look like. If you remember long ago, we talked about bringing UAV manufacturing and training and flight operation. There was a developer at one point that said he was going to go into the desert in Arizona and bring the Navy Viking aircraft out and refurbish them and turn them into small fire bombers. This is the area where you could do that type of thing. It's large. You could literally put hundreds of people to work and make a lot of money. But this is not an area that we readily have stormwater facilities and utilities available. It's still pretty wild over there. So to make this happen, it would need a lot of infrastructure and utility investment, but there still is the potential to make that happen. So this is the most recent cut. Again, you got 16 sheets of drawings. What the board and what the city do with it. We want to give you that tool to show to somebody that can help you market the airport and determine what to do next. And again, we try to do this once a year to really dust these things off. And there is tremendous potential for the airport.
Wow, Andrew, thank you very, very much. That's beautiful, beautiful work. So we'll go around the room, and Melissa, we'll start with you again. If you would have comments or questions on what we've just seen.
No, I just want to thank Andrew for that vision. I'd love to see all of it come to fruition.
All right, John Browning.
I thought that was a nice presentation, showed a lot of things. I haven't quite got the grasp on the total picture. I think we need to spend some time deciding where are we trying to go. Are we not just building hangars and all kinds of things, more of a master plan that we can look at every year and say, are we keeping up with the plan that we're doing forward? I'm not against any of this. I'm just saying that it's a lot of pieces and I'm having a hard time hooking them all together.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John. Hopefully next meeting we maybe can be together and it'll make it a little easier too. Mr. McLean, do you have any comments and questions, sir?
No, I just echo, thank you, Andrew, for your hard work. And I echo what John Browning said and agree with him.
Thank you very much, Dana. Dana?
I'm here. Yeah, I agree. It's a great plan. Thank you, Andrew. I'd really like to see us work toward a master plan, kind of like Don alluded to, and John. I know we did one about 10 years ago. And when I saw today, one of the things we didn't discuss is parking in large numbers. At some point in the airport's life, whether we're here or not, we would hope there's enough land around it where hundreds of cars could park, just like we need for the fly-in. So a master plan seems like a real timely endeavor.
Thank you very much, Dana. Hugh, you're up next, sir.
Only the second, John Browning.
All right, thank you very much.
Copy.
Hugh. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said, I second John Browning.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much. And I'm in the same favor of all of you and agree with all that. Mr. Holmes, do you have any comments or anybody else that's on?
I don't.
All right, well, very good. Well, Andrew, thank you very, very much for all this beautiful work. And I think it does go along with a lot of things that we've talked about before and brings a few more additional options and a much better picture. So we will talk about that again, hopefully in the next meeting with our master plan update.
John, I'd just like to let you know what I think that we could bring to the meeting just to have everybody thinking about it. So, and we have done this once before. We've taken this list of projects and put them in front of you so you all can prioritize them on what you think the most logical things are, frankly, from project 1 to 10. So we could do that again. And the other thing that I can bring you next month is the sheet that shows your currently approved airport master plan and layout plan, so you can see the list of projects on there, as well as what the DOT and FAA are planning for funding to make sure that that aligns with what you want. We can have handouts for all that next month and to show you what they think and what's on the CIP and make sure that it does align with what the board thinks.
Thank you very much, very much. Okay, the next one is for D, and we kind of went over that a little bit, but John Mule, we'll turn that over to you, please, sir.
We did. I don't know if we necessarily need to readdress the appearance situation. We know it's an elephant in the room. It just needs to stay on the front burner. And I'll start working with finance, maybe trying to increase our annual maintenance budget to start on one or two at a time. And looking at what rehabilitation we can get.
Okay, thank you, John. We're down to 8 minutes, and that's a very good point to lead us into 4E. Many times here in the last 6 months or so, we have brought up hangar rental rate increases. And so our last one was in 2019, we went up at 5%. And the 2018-19 hangar revenue was just under 300, and this year will be just over 300. And so we have talked before about a 5% increase, which is, in my opinion, makes it a little more difficult for those in business with bulk hangars because they have a fixed cost that is not necessarily applicable to their pricing. So I like the straight $25 a month per unit increase idea. And the reason that I do that from my personal standpoint is that basically everybody renting a T hangar can afford an easy $25 a month for our city. So I think it makes it very easy rather than a percentage rate, but it probably is past due time for us to go up a little bit on our hangars, and it will bring in more income for the airport and to make it easier to maintain. And we'll still have a full house. I don't think we'll lose anybody. So having said that, I'd like to start with Melissa again, please, and go around the room and talk about those two ideas, and or if you're even in favor of one, so that we can hopefully have a motion before we're done in 6 minutes.
So yeah, thank you, Judd. So $25 a month, what percentage increase does that represent on an average?
My hangar rent is $220, so it'd be a little over 10%. Is that right, John?
Yours at 220, it's higher than that. Mine's 289. I got the same thing you do.
Yeah, you have a little fancier one, so it'd be about 8% maybe.
And the last time we raised it was how many years ago?
In 2019 of January, so it's been a year and a half ago, ballpark, and we went up at 5%.
Okay, I would say that if it's commensurate with market rates, that I would be in favor of it, but with the caveat that, you know, it is a difficult time right now. And, you know, I think the CPI is probably what, a couple percent, if that. So, you know, I'm cognizant of, you know, Don's conversation about maintenance and, you know, if we were able to go up, if that we could have a dedicated source of revenue to provide maintenance, I think that makes all the sense in the world. And if I recall correctly, it seemed like our rents were slightly below market in the area. Uh, those are my thoughts.
Thank you. That's very good. Thank you, John Browning.
Yes, I think that we're being a little haphazard here. If we're going to go looking at rates, we spend some time, and I don't mean 5 minutes to call 2 airports. Let's actually look at what the airports that are similar to ours, not St. Augustine. It's a lot different when you're living in St. Augustine and you go, but some of the rural airports. Let's see what they are charging for the same thing. And then if we're going to go up, have a good reason for going up. Primarily, if you're talking about we're going to finally be able to paint some of these hangars, they're in terrible shape. I don't want to find ourselves going up very little bit of money and only start losing people because our hangars are so bad. And they really are. If you haven't been out and look at them, go around to some of these we just built a few years ago, and they're really rusting on the tops, the rails. They're pretty bad. And I think it's important, like selling a car. You've got to have it clean and looking good for people to want to come there and buy it. You don't start raising prices to at least make it look good. And so I would be against it at this time without further study. That's all.
Thank you, John. Wayne, you're up.
Yeah, I agree with everything John Browning said.
Okay. All right, Dana, you're up.
All right, you finally forced me to agree with John, but I really believe we need to do a study on airports like us. I think we've talked about this in the past to make sure that we stay competitive and keep our hangars full. So that's all the input I have.
Okay, Hugh, you're up, sir.
My only comment is regarding W's 1, 2, and 3. Those people carry a big load already, and I sure don't want to put more hardship on those 3 clients because they're sort of 3 principal clients on the airport. Other than that, I second John Browning's comments.
Okay, well, I think we've heard clearly then that we need to do a market study between now and the next meeting before we make a recommendation to the city commission. And so we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll plan on having that first item on the agenda for next meeting, if that's good with each of you. All right. Well, we have 2 minutes left. So unless somebody has any more comments, we'll go ahead and close, but I'll open it up for any comments.
Oh, hold on, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure, and we talked about this at our last meeting, that John Yule officially reports to the city commission in our very positive way that the planning for a fly-in in January is not going to happen with right now. And I just, again, don't want us to come up in December and somebody go in front of the commission and says, what about the fly-in? I want us to be proactive in announcing that and the reasons why.
Yes, thank you. We will make sure we do that more clear, Wayne. But you are correct that there is no fly-in plan for January, according to what we've discussed in the days gone by. That's right. All right, any other comments?
I've got one thing to add. I did call Keystone to try and get some information on their hangar rental, and I believe the chairman of their advisory board over there is doing a comprehensive analysis of airports in the area, and he promised me a copy of that when it gets done. I think I should have already had it, but I will get that for the next meeting.
All right, well, thank you very much. Well, I appreciate every one of you and your service to our city. We can go ahead and adjourn, and we will meet again in about 30 days. Thank you. All be safe. Bye-bye.